What's up, guys? HOA is back. Kenzie, how are you this week?
Uh, Not much to complain about. Just the week been just going regular. Been playing Elden Ring a lot lately. That game is pretty difficult, but
Yeah.
we move.
Um, we've got a lot going on in the HOA world. HOA MMA recorded their episode again today. They're putting that out tomorrow. Um, like and subscribe that channel, guys. Hit them up on Twitter, Instagram. We are trying to grow that channel along with our own. Um, Big event this weekend for the UFC, which they're covering everything about that.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, Kenzie, you know, the NFL season ended, a couple months back, but the NFL does not sleep. A
Not at
lot of
all.
NFL news this week. Your team is in the news for what potentially could be a franchise altering addition in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to start with somebody who's probably getting the most attention right now, and that's Lamar Jackson. The Ravens gave him the non-exclusive franchise tag for 32 million, dollars, and that means he can go out and negotiate with other teams to try to get a contract. What do you think about the decision by the Ravens to give him a non-exclusive, and what are the chances that he goes elsewhere this offseason?
I the Ravens' decision to do that, I think, is absolutely insane. Quarterbacks just don't grow on trees, especially like high level ones. If you want to say he don't pass like Breeze, Peyton, or even like the elites today, he's not like a like Taysom Hill. Like he can still pass the football, and everything else he gives you like within the running game. All you got to look at all you got to look at is their record when he plays versus when it doesn't, how much points they score. I don't know how they could do this. Like the Ravens, they've never been a team that'll be truly bad, like 2, 3 win seasons, and it's looking like that's what they're gonna do.
Okay, so you don't like. Are they good with Huntley being their guy? Like, is that what we're like? Because they
He's
still did franchise tag him, but like, and they can match any offer. So they want him, but they don't want to commit the money that it takes to want to like
it's
up front.
that's just like bad business. You're basically saying, yeah, go see what you're really worth if you think you're that good. I just don't think that's the way you treat your star player. Now, this is kind of like a situation like it's crossover with basketball. Like Otto was a restricted free agent for us. I think the Nets threw a super bag at him, and we had to match it, and that hurt us. So
Yeah,
now, like, what if some team throws a Omega bag at Lamar, and now the Ravens have to match it? They
I
should have
think they
got
let
this
him
done
walk. I
months
think,
ago.
but like, I think they're gonna let him walk. Like, but it's been weird because teams haven't like come out and say they want Lamar, and I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, that
Teams are like coming out saying they're not in on Lamar.
for the Falcons, like I know they have a new young
Ritter,
QB. I forgot what his name was,
Desmond
but
Ritter.
oh yeah, but like for y'all to straight up say nah, we're good, and like certain other teams to
Like
say
the
nah, we're good.
Panthers, why are the Panthers not jumping on
Yeah,
him?
like what are you thinking?
Um, so that's something that feels very like collusion type situation going on in the
Yeah.
NFL. But why would teams want the Ravens to keep Lamar? Like I don't understand. Um, and I think the issue with them contract wise is he wants the guaranteed money, and they're not going to do
Mm-hmm.
it. The Ravens don't do that, and
Yeah.
I think it could cost them. If somebody pulls the trigger at the last minute and he gets the big money like he deserves, the Ravens are screwed.
And plus, I heard something like he doesn't have to sign the franchise tag right away. Like he could literally wait like 3 weeks before opening kickoff week, and then he could just sign. You just why even do all that?
Yeah, no, they're setting up the Ravens as a franchise for failure with this
Yeah.
situation, and it's not doing Lamar. It is doing Lamar a favor by giving him the opportunity, but like I don't know. I would like to see him in a different uniform personally. I would like to see him go to the NFC. Obviously, as a Browns fan, that's tough, but Lamar Jackson should be paid the guaranteed money and the big
Mm-hmm.
contract.
Yeah.
I understand being worried about some injuries and stuff like that, but every time he's on the field, he is a MVP candidate.
Yeah. I think what like a 70+% winning percentage. Like you don't just find that.
Right. Okay. Let's jump into what some people consider the best running back in the NFL. Derrick Henry is on the market. What do you think about his value, and where do you think the best possible landing spot is for a player like Derrick Henry?
His value should definitely be high, but running backs aren't going to like get a huge trade market. But he's definitely still like top 3 at his position at the least. As for fit, that's tough. That is really tough. I hope he doesn't like go to Buffalo, but I don't think like that's like 20, 25 carries a game. I don't think they're going to take the ball at Allen's hand that much. The Ravens, they're run heavy, so maybe.
Well, but then what would you do with Dobbins? And
that's what I'm trying to
that
think.
just eliminates that whole thing.
Yeah, they're kind of like a running back by committee situation. The Chiefs don't see it happening.
No.
Niners already have CMC,
but he's got to go somewhere that is going to give him his carry.
Yeah, like a lot of the contenders, they kind of like already have their backs.
Atlanta would be okay. They need it.
Like because they do run like a college type offense.
Yeah, with a young quarterback, it would be nice to have a Derrick Henry to build off of. I thought it was interesting that the Titans were willing to get rid of him due to the fact that he's been their offense for the last 5 years now.
Yeah, and it's not like he didn't almost get them there this year. Like they was a Dobbs strip sack away from beating the Jags.
Yeah, it was. I'm surprised. I like free agency a lot because there's a lot of exciting stuff. People are getting cut that are good players that could wind up on a new team for a better deal.
Right.
Trades could happen. We got big names on the market. Another big name is a guy that's been linked to you. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers meeting with New York and potentially being your quarterback next year?
Of course, I would welcome it. I know I said, and I still felt like I would have preferred Carr, just because like he's not as talented, but it's just way less of a circus. But with Rodgers, it's like win or lose after the game, he's just going to be in the headlines. He's going to be in the newspapers, and like God forbid we regress and have a bad season. Him and that New York media, it's just not going to be good. And I more so fear how much we're going to give up for him, because obviously we're not trading away like Brees, Garrett, Sauce, Quinnen.
Yeah.
I hope we don't give up like too many picks, especially because you don't know how long he's going to play. He himself is like $50 million. It's just like, of course I'm going to welcome it. Like if we get Rodgers going into next season, you know me, I'm going to be like, oh, we can win the AFC. It's just I just hope we don't gut our roster for him.
And I don't think you guys are going to give up any players for him, but the draft compensation is going to be something to look at.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine you guys giving up a first for him.
Nah.
But the seconds and the thirds are still where you help build your team, and I could see some seconds and some thirds going out the door to get him. But I also think that changes your guys' trajectory right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like
absolutely.
you guys are a playoff contender right now.
Yeah.
You're a fringe playoff team. With Aaron Rodgers, do you think you guys become a Super Bowl contender?
I would have to see him for like the first 3 weeks, because this past year he hasn't thrown for over 270 yards. But like we don't know if that was like due to him having no chemistry, like a bunch of other factors. So I would have to see like the first month of Rodgers. Like if he's back to like his 283 tub games, then yeah. But if he is really what he was this past year, which is like 220 yards, then honestly, probably still yeah, because he's at that point he's still better than Mike White and Flacco and Wilson, but it'll hurt.
So if you do get Rodgers going into next year, you have Rodgers, you have Hall as the running back,
mm-hmm.
you have Wilson, you have Moore. You don't have Braxton Berrios anymore. I haven't heard you say anything about that. I didn't want you to talk about it. But that right there is a very solid start to a core for an offense.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you guys bring in, another guy in free agency to help to round that out. But
yeah,
it's a very good start to a strong offense. With your guys' defense, I would say you guys are probably, with Rodgers, I would say you guys are probably the third or fourth best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
And that pretty much puts you in Super Bowl contention. I would say Chiefs, Bengals, you guys, and then, down the list. I don't know. The Bills are losing a lot of guys, so it's not for them. But I'd say you guys could be in that third or fourth spot right away with the addition of Rodgers.
And after looking at a few things, I think we kind of need Rodgers because the Lamar dream, I think that's just a bit out there. But then after Rodgers and Lamar, we're looking at like Jimmy G and
Okay, so you brought this guy up a little bit ago. You talking about wanting him to join the Jets. Carr goes to the Saints. Do the Saints become the best team in the NFC South right away?
By default, yeah, but
he's the best quarterback down there now.
Yeah, I just like if you look at like the Saints cap, it's terrible. Like it's really bad. I think next year Michael Thomas is going to be like upwards of 50 million.
Extend him.
Yeah, and I don't. He had 2 years ago. He had an argument for like the best wide receiver, even though like he was called a slant merchant. Yeah. Obviously he played this year, but like, did he have any good games? What did he do?
No, very sparingly. He hasn't played. I can't remember what that stat was, but he has played like 8 games out of the last 50 or something crazy like that. I would have to double check that number.
So like they still have pieces as if like they're trying to like push for a title, but I don't think they realize this is not happening.
Okay, but you do think they're the best team in the NFC South?
Yeah.
Now, say Carolina gets Jimmy G. Does that change your mind about them?
Slightly, because they did have like a decent second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd still take like the high end talent of like Kamara and them over in New Orleans.
Okay, and then we'll touch on a guy that we have. We don't really, this is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is something.
It's crazy.
Daniel Jones goes out and gets $40 million over 4 years, total of $160. Thoughts on the contract for him? He had 15 passing touchdowns last year.
Yeah, what a crazy stat is I think definitely this year, but I think this might hold true for his career. He has more games started and like games played than passing touchdowns. For him to get that, like this is what the franchise tag is for. It's for, okay, you weren't historically bad this year, so this year we're gonna tag you and now prove it. But for them to straight up say, oh yeah, take the money, that's insane.
I was surprised at the number. And some people even reported it could have been 45 million. Daniel Jones I think he proved he is a capable starter, but he is not a top 10 player top 10 player at his position in the NFL. And he is very close to probably being the like 10 to 15 range, lower end of that.
Yeah.
In terms of quarterback, he runs their offense very well. He did a lot with lots of strong word. He did well with a very limited receiver core, but I think that's I don't know. I personally told you this week, I don't know if the Giants make the playoffs again ever.
Nah, that's crazy.
Also, they also franchised Saquon Barkley, so a lot of money out the window in both of those deals right there.
With the thing with them is, as you saw, like they had that hot start, and then like the past like a month and a half, it was kind of finicky.
Yeah.
And for them to just straight up trust Jones, because like every year before this year, he was literally like on a historical fumble rate. This year, he cleaned it up, but it's not like he had a welcome to the league season. It was just okay, I'm no longer turning it over at a historic rate.
Yeah. And
for that reward and a contract like that, I don't know, but this kind of the Giants MO, like they kind of Green Bay like to where they want to stick with one guy for a long, long time. So
but he doesn't even feel like Eli. Like Eli had some big seasons, So we both seem like we're out on Daniel Jones.
Right.
Good for Saquon getting some money there. Let's transition into the association. There's been some wild talk recently, and I feel like we've been on the same side of the fence on this. Kendrick Perkins has like really gone into I
don't follow him, but like a lot of his tweets keep popping up on my timeline. It's like he's going mad. He's like, it wasn't Embiid had a good game. Oh, did you see that 2-way player? I don't need advanced stats. I said, like, bro, it's you had the show like 10 hours ago. Like, it's not that serious. Relax.
And it's rough when like the show that you've been on, First Take, comes out and says,
yeah, that was bad.
Like, the NBA award voters are not 80% white. They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN comes out every year and tells you who the voters are. They give you all their credentials. To say that they're all 80% white is crazy. They corrected that stat. You can't say facts when you're just giving your opinion. The concept that the white NBA player is getting more awards than the black NBA player is wild. Like, guys, plain as day. The NBA, all the best players are black, guys. Like, yeah, there's a couple European guys and a couple guys in there sprinkled in, but I don't know. Like, there's been 8 white MVPs since the beginning of the MVP award. 8. Like, it's not like white guys are dominating the awards, which is perfectly fine. All the best NBA players are black, and that's great. I'm all for it. But where did this come from all of a sudden? It's crazy.
Like, I don't know. Like, out of all the things to say, like, I would have been fine if he stuck with like the stat padding route, even though like he said, "Oh, how come Jokic's assist went from 9.5 to 10, bro? That's 0.5." But like, if he stayed with that route, I'd just been like, okay. But like, to try to make it a race issue, and then like just the discourse on Twitter, I'm like, come on, man, come on.
Like, Jokic is playing like he should win a third MVP. This is crazy talk. A triple-double as a center should never be possible.
On very great historic efficiency.
63% shooting. He scores 24.5 points a game on 63%. Could he shoot more? But then that would be stat padding. If he shot more, he would be stat padding.
Yeah, I just truly
one of the best passers in the NBA. Like, legitimately, at 7 foot tall, he's one of the best passers in the NBA.
And the thing is, it's not like he just waits to like 3 seconds left and throws it to a corner shooter or throws his 3-point. Like, no, he's like scanning. He's finding cutters.
They're often just him at the elbow making a pass to an open shooter, an open cutter. What, like?
Yeah, I appreciate social media, obviously, because like there is some great discussions, but it's like I swear, if like Magic Johnson thing or like Jason played today, they would have had to face stat padding or like pass merchant allegations. It's just people always complaining about something.
Okay, so next question. Do you think, like, I know they're important, I know they provide a lot of entertainment, they provide a lot of content. Do the sports talk shows, do you think they manufacture too much, like, narrative-wise? Like, it's gotten to the point where it's, like, pretty extreme, the amount of, like, narratives that we get just from talk shows.
Yeah, like, it's crazy that, because, like, the LeBron not clutch narrative, obviously, like, there's a few more people that say it, but it was really Skip who, like, pushed that the most. And now it's, like, it's damn near, like, engraved in, like, NBA history. Oh, LeBron's not clutch. And that came from one person on a sports show, like, spewing that. And, like, nowadays, like, you have these people that don't care for the NBA now trying to say that, oh, yeah, it's always been like this. Like, oh, there's systematic racism. All because of, like, what Perkins pushed on one of the biggest sports shows, which is First Take. And it's just, like, you guys are there, like, for entertainment and, like, of course, like, to provide some facts, but the facts have to be, like, the truth.
Supported.
Like, like, you can have your opinions, but, like, to say something that grand, you just can't do that.
And I also want to say, like, I'm not even saying there's no racism in the voting or any of that kind of stuff. Like, of course that exists, but it's hard to support that when there's just not, like, hard data that really points to racism.
Right.
It's just hard to get behind it. I'm not saying it's not there, but come on. Okay. Big injury news this week for the league. Kevin Durant with a bad ankle roll. It looks like he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Do you think this takes a hit on the Suns' potential to make a push to the finals? I mean, he's going to be back in time, but Does this hurt their seeding chances too?
Yeah. That's the main route I was going. I was going to say it's going to hurt them mainly from the seeding. From a playing standpoint, I don't really think so because as you saw, like you just dropped him in and he's having a 20-point game, 36-point game, 28-point game. So I think like if he comes back in the first round, whatever, they'll be fine. But now instead of like it being in Phoenix, they might have to like start at Denver or like start at who the third seed right now, start in Sacramento, which of course is still very winnable games and they're probably favored. But yeah. But like when you get deeper down, like in a conference finals, then it might really show.
Yeah. So they need to try to win a majority of these games just to get the home court, like you just said. Tough injury. I hope he can bounce back from that. I hope it's not any more severe than the 2 weeks that they said. It looked disgusting when it happened. But the Suns as a whole, they're still very good. Very good. So I don't think it necessarily takes them away. They're just going to need a little bit more from Chris Paul offensively besides the passing. Booker's more than ready to score. Ayton needs to score a little bit more. But they got the players to pick up the slack. Speaking of shooting guards, things like that, we've decided to do our top 5 shooting guards. There's going to probably be some eye-raising, some question marks. Kenzie, because you are known for the I don't know what you want to call it on this show.
Honesty?
Start with your top 5 shooting guards.
Oh,
I'll tell you, if one guy makes this list, I will walk off the show right now.
The top 5 shooting guards, man. And it's crazy because I know you talking about it, and he's definitely in it.
No, there's no way. There's absolutely no way he's in it.
All right. So
there's no way. Don't put him on there.
I don't think there's like a clear cut best shooting guard in the league right now. So I'm going to like kind of do it in tiers. I have a tier 1 and a tier 2. The tier 1 guys, I think they could be not the first. I think they could be the second or like a very overqualified third best player on a championship team. And that is, in no order, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown. I think those 4, like you could just swap them in and out. Like if you put Beal on Phoenix, there's no drop off. If you put Booker on the Cavs, there's no drop off. If you put Jaylen Brown on the Wizards, drop off. We'll be the same. So yeah, I think those 4 guys are interchangeable. Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, and Jaylen Brown. And if you want to say Anthony Edwards too, but you know, I want to see it again. So yes, I think those 4 or 5 guys are interchangeable.
You just named the first option on 4 playoff teams, and then one guy who's the number 1 option on the 10th seed in the East.
That's
absurd.
Let's.
Why would you do it this way? I was going to give you Beal on my top 5, and now I'm not.
Let's.
This tier 2 should be interesting because that's not how tiers should work.
Okay. Tier 2, you have like the Klay Thompsons. Like he's coming back into form. The defense is never going to be what it was in his absolute prime, but like you're not just going to ISO on Klay Thompson. His shooting is coming back. He's averaging like 23, 24 in like the past 2 months. Who else do I have in there? You gotta have CJ McCollum. He's north of 20 points. He's a very underrated facilitator. He's like a good for like between like 4 to 6 assists. The best shot creator from the shooting guard position in the NBA. I also have Zach LaVine there. So yes, those are my top 2 tiers. So it's more than 5 players, but those are my 2 tiers for shooting guards.
Absolutely disgusting. That is not a top 5, folks. I am disgusted, unfortunately. CJ McCollum is not. There's no way that Bradley Beal's in tier 1 anymore. There's just not. He's not there with those 3 guys. He's just not. So my top 5 guys looks like this. Devin Booker is clearly the best shooting guard in the NBA. He just is. He's fantastic. Donovan Mitchell. It's pretty obvious, guys. Pretty obvious. The best 71-point performance of the year.
Relax.
Leading the Cavs to the 4th seed in the East. And third is Jaylen Brown. He's the best two-way player in the shooting guard tier or position. He's also a incredible scorer as the second option on a championship team. I put Anthony Edwards at 4 because he is the number 1 option on the Timberwolves, who are in the playoffs right now. He's having a crazy year, and they're not even fully healthy. Big ups to him for leading them and still having a playoff spot.
Is Cat coming back?
I don't know when. Hopefully right before the playoffs, though, for them, just to make it interesting. And then I've got Beal at 5th. It's hard to put him on there, but he has somehow managed to get the Wizards into the 10th seed. When you have a team as bad as the Wizards are, for them to be dragged into the 10th seed,
this is insane.
As a number one option, you've got to give some credit.
Narrative manipulation.
So that's my top 5. Booker, Mitchell, Brown, Edwards, Beal. And if you wanted to take Beal off, I would totally understand. Drop your top 5 shooting guards in the comments. If you leave off Beal, we will give you a follow.
We're like 18-6 in like the past 2 months when Beal plays.
Still the 10th seed.
The only reason we're the 10th seed is because either Beal's missing, Kuz's missing, KP missing. We really have all 3 of these together.
So you somehow went 18-6 in the last 24, but you're still the 10th seed.
It happens, man.
You guys are not making the final 8.
We'll be there.
Okay. I totally disagree. Beal is not in the first tier anymore. He's simply not. CJ McCollum is a fraud. He does not get the easiest buckets at the shooting guard position. If you were to put CJ McCollum over Booker, Mitchell, Brown, insanity. Those guys all score the ball better than CJ McCollum. All of them.
Nah.
And they all probably do it more efficiently. I would hate to pull up the actual numbers to prove you even more wrong.
No. They're definitely at least Booker. No. He's more efficient than CJ, but
he gets easier buckets. He gets the rim better. He's a better 3-point shooter.
He not better than ISO, and I would not check the numbers on that. I just know.
You would hate for the ISO numbers to come out and prove you wrong. Kenzie, even though your top 5 that turned into a tier list is crazy, we had a fun show today.
Wait, what is Jimmy a 2 or 3?
I always consider him a small forward.
All right, well, he wasn't going to be.
Because Tyler Hero plays the 2 for them now.
Oh yeah.
So, I would say he's more of a 3 now.
He's on the bill anyway, so it's not like he'd have made the list.
Jimmy Butler led his team to a finals. You are a fraud, sir. You are a fraud.
You mean Duncan Robinson had a breakout series? Bam had a breakout bubble. It was one day.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Besides LeBron James, who played better in the finals than Jimmy Butler? AD. And Jimmy Butler might have played better than LeBron.
AD.
No. AD. Jimmy Butler was the only reason those games were even close.
AD. Look, playoff Jimmy one day I'm doing a deep dive on playoff Jimmy.
Finals. Bradley Beal is the 10th seed in the East.
I'll be doing a deep dive on playoff Jimmy. That is such a myth.
Playoff Jimmy is fantastic. He's one of the best players in the NBA.
Yeah, when he's good, but he's also been outscored by.
Anybody ever said Bradley Beal is one of the best players in the NBA? That wasn't you.
He's also been outscored and outplayed by Forbes in a playoff series. Playoff Jimmy don't exist. Jimmy, he was outscored by Bryn Forbes in a playoff series. It was like 6
a bucket.
Bryn Forbes a bucket, but we slanted CJ. What?
If Bryn Forbes got the touches that CJ McCollum got, he would be CJ McCollum.
This is insane.
Could you imagine scoring 20 points on 20 shots? I'd be embarrassed.
This is insane.
Jimmy Butler, the fact that you don't think he's better, you don't think CJ McCollum's better than Jimmy Butler. No fucking chance. No chance. CJ McCollum's a turnstile. That guy is terrible. No. All right. I've had enough of you for now. Guys, like and subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate you guys. We are at 130 subs now. We're trying to get to 150. I think at 200 subs, we're going to do something fun. Me and Kinsey got to work that out, though. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for viewing. Thank you for interacting on Twitter. We will be back next week, and I think next week we're going to rank our top 5 small forwards in the NBA. Yeah. Kenzie, you got anything else for us before we get out of here?
Nah, man, nah.
All right. Well, this was a fun one, guys. We'll see you next time.